Welcome to MEGJC Matrix, where we explore the transformative initiatives shaping Jamaica's future. Today's episode highlights the incredible work of the Factories Corporation of Jamaica, FCJ. The economic policy and investment portfolio of the Ministry of Economic Growth and Job Creation plays a pivotal role in driving national development. Through this branch, the ministry provides leadership in shaping policies, frameworks, and strategic investments that foster economic expansion, business growth, and job creation. By collaborating with key agencies, MEGJC ensures that investment policies align with Jamaica's long-term development goals, facilitating sustainable infrastructure projects and economic opportunities. Now, one of the agencies at the forefront of this mission is the Factories Corporation of Jamaica. Joining us today are the Honorable Lyttleton Tanny Shirley, Chairman of the FCJ, and Dr. Donald Farquharson, Managing Director of the FCJ. Gentlemen, welcome. Thank you so much for joining us today. So, the FCJ here on MEGJC Matrix. Now, first of all, some persons are still wondering what is the FCJ all about? Tell us about the role and mandate of the FCJ.
Sure. Denise, great to be here with you this afternoon. We are so excited about the opportunity to speak about I would consider, the tremendous work that the Factories Corporation of Jamaica has embarked on. As you know, we are a government agency that reports to the Ministry of Economic Growth and Job Creation. Our mandate definitively is to provide space to facilitate economic growth and job creation to commercial and industrial companies. We have, in the past, we've been operating since 1987, and it primarily was to facilitate rental space to these facilities. Under the present Prime Minister, the Honorable Andrew Holness, Dr. Andrew Holness, he has mandated us to become more of a developer, to look at maximizing on our initial space, redeveloping space where land has been underutilized, and look at lands that are contingent in certain parishes that required redevelopment, and to create what we consider to be urban centers to facilitate people in these communities that has been marginalized by restricted space for development, restricted parking, restricted expansion. And the fact that these space downs were developed many years ago have not really expanded their facilities, facilitate the growth that they have seen. So our mission really is to look at not only expanding our physical space to allow for more business and to allow more job creation, but also to look at redevelopment of town centers into what you call urban centers, which meaning moving a little bit outside of the town,
Yes.
where you can get more space, better parking, better facilities, and then come with the one-stop facilities to facilitate the efficiencies of not only private sector operating, but government entities. For instance, and I use an example, the Morant Bay Urban Centre is a talk of Jamaica, it's a talk of the world,
Definitely.
it is a talk of the Caribbean, and it is really the brainchild of the Honorable Dr. Andrew Holness, Prime Minister of Jamaica, to really look at how, when he visited St. Thomas and saw the conditions and the complaints and the persons believed that it was a forgotten parish, and was the plight of the residents, and knowing that the task and the role they play in Jamaica to free Jamaica, Ball and all that.
If
And he said it was full time for the parish to become economic self-sustainable. And he mandated us to use that 20 odd acres of land and the Springfield Plains, which was the old Goodyear factory,
Right.
to develop what you call the blueprint for urban development, where you have all government entities and a source of private sector entities operating under a holistic approach to creating services that entail 22 parishes, communities in St. Thomas could benefit from.
Right.
And the idea was to create the SPV to involve government entities.
So for those who don't know, what is SPV?
Special purpose vehicle.
All right.
That allow for investment and ownership.
Mhm.
So we partner with 3 entities, which was FCJ, NCB, and Czech, who is a construction company, to create the initial, that 30% of investment into the project, so that we could take that 30%, go to a financial institution from that special purpose vehicle, which is a new company,
Right.
and have that company stand security and ownership to apply to our bank to get the funds to borrow. And that worked very well because we had to convince them. We had the clientele. We had to show them that the rental from companies who were capable of paying that type of rental rate, capable of wanting to go to St. Thomas, along with the residents of St. Thomas, so that the burden of this would not be on St. Thomas persons alone, but on a broader scale of person nationally.
Right.
In order, and that was one of the first things that the bank laid down as requisite for financing approval. So going back to all that, we were excited. The bank showed some positive signs. We had the investors who were putting up their funds. FCJ put up the land as part of their equity plus initial funds that would trigger off the development. And it all gelled together. We were back and forth with the Prime Minister in every step of the way.
Because he wants to ensure that it gets done.
Of course, he wanted to make sure not only get done, he wanted to be the blueprint. He wanted to be the cutting edge of the Caribbean.
Right.
He wanted to show that if you can create a success story of that nature in St. Thomas, you can do it anywhere else.
Right.
Right? And that was somehow the type of challenge that was in us, both from the investors and from the financial institutions, because we have to prompt them to say, look here, when you fund this project, you'll be the landmark financial institution in Jamaica.
For other projects, even similar to this, right?
For other financial institutions to go on board.
Right.
And when we saw the pick up, when we saw the interest, not only from St. Thomas, but around Jamaica, various business entities, we knew it was going to be a success.
Right.
And one of the things that we were comfortable, we had the best contractor Czech who had proven build cities around the world. And we chose them. We had NCB Bank as a financier to fund the project, and also to be an equity partner through one of their agency, which is Stratus.
Well, Mr. Shirley, I'm from St. Thomas originally.
Well, I hope you have land still there. No?
Yes.
Okay, because the value gone up about that.
Yes. And I have to maybe go back there and build up, understand? But since, in our first episode, we spoke about water, and the NWC told us about some projects that they're doing in St. Thomas. So right there, I was very happy, okay?
Sure.
Then we spoke to NWA, and Stephen Shaw told me about some projects that are happening in St. Thomas. I was doubly happy. So now, can you imagine how proud I am when I drive to St. Thomas, passing All Good Year, and see that that is the thing. Yes. So I am happy that the people of St. Thomas are finally getting the what they deserve.
Of course.
They're finally getting some traction, the government is looking to St. Thomas. So I'm happy for that. When we come back, we're going to continue our conversation with the FCJ. We're going to hear some more about some of the other projects that they're doing, exciting stuff happening over FCJ.
About Morant Bay.
And a little bit more, of course, about Morant Bay Urban Centre. We'll be right back.
What is urban renewal? The government is on a mission to transform your local towns and cities, from park upgrades that bring families closer to nature, to community beautification projects that celebrate our culture. We're creating safe, inclusive, and sustainable public spaces.
The Ministry of Economic Growth and Job Creation. Building hope, building Jamaica.
Welcome back to MEGJC Matrix. We are here with the Factories Corporation of Jamaica, FCJ for short, and we are in St. Thomas again. And they're going to be taking us right across the island because they have several projects that are currently underway. And so we're going to now go right back to Tanny Shirley. Everybody knows him as Tanny Shirley. And of course, Dr. Farquharson. So we were talking about the urban center. All right. So there is this micro parks. I believe that's what it's called. Talk to us about that.
Yeah, what happened is that when we looked at the demand, when the requests from various entities, both small businesses, medium-sized and large entities, to be fitted in the Morant Bay Urban Centre, we recognized that we would need more land and we would have more building to be built out based off the demand. We also recognize that, look here, you cannot build a new urban centre and without anchor clients that have proven to be the best deliverables of service, goods and services to the community. Because you don't want a center built in Morant Bay and
Push out the small man.
push out, but at the same time, you want the small man to be able to have the same opportunity that he would get whether he's in Kingston or Montego Bay or Ochi, well-established businesses that can offer goods and services at competitive prices to them. So we had to have a mixture. And what we found in St. Thomas now is that along with the government entities, there are 11 government entities, which include the parish council, the courthouse of anchor clients, most modern courthouse to be built in the Caribbean.
I've seen the structure. It's very nice.
Amazing. And then with all the other government entities, which accounts for 11 of them, we have 77 private sector businesses to be taken up in the Morant Bay or the commercial area and the standalone area. Of that, we have 30% of space allocated to persons from St. Thomas, a mixture of small and big business. But the majority of the requests are from small businesses, which financially and commercially could not facilitate all the small businesses. So at that time, we decided that since this was going on, we're going to acquire 10 additional acres of land to put a micro business park. And we recognize how important small businesses, because small businesses are really big businesses. And then the failure rate of small businesses in Jamaica is directly related to startup. Right? So what we have done to facilitate, which was powered by the Prime Minister and supported by as a great initiative, not only are we providing space for them, we're going to provide equipment for small businesses, the hairdresser, the locksmith, the barber shop, and then roll that equipment cost in the rental rate over a longer period of time to ensure that they don't fail in the startup of their business.
So,
right?
Very good.
Major initiative, and that is going to be phase 2. We already have the design plans, and we are hoping that in the next few months, we'll be able to start construction on that area. And then we also have the multi-purpose stadium to be built to replace the cricket ground that we had.
That's its next door.
Yeah, and another 13 acres of land, which is adjoining the 10 acres of land.
So FCJ will be in St. Thomas for a little while.
Of course, it's going to be like our DNA.
Thank you so very much. Now, I know that the FCJ is more than the Morant Bay Urban Centre. You are right across the island. I know that you just broke ground just this year, well, last year, 2024, for the Bonebrook Urban Centre. Talk to us about that.
I'm going to let the managing director.
All right, no problem, no problem.
Thank you very much for having us. Maybe the best way to speak about FCJ is to start back in 1987 when we were viewed as providing space for the garment industry. Over time, FCJ has evolved from being just a landlord to what we think as maybe one of the largest developers in the country. So at this point, we have 1.8 million square feet of space across the island, across 13 parishes. We have in excess of 40 building locations. Most of our facilities are providing commercial and industrial spaces, but we provide for agro-processing, distribution, ICT, manufacturing, and even more recently for offices on them. So a number of the projects which we are now doing are lands which are actually owned by government or owned by FCJ, which we are designing and developing into what we call urban centers, integrated business centers, and micro-business park. So we're actually heading across the island. I love to say that I'm a country boy from St. Elizabeth. My parish is St. Elizabeth. My capital is Black River. So the Prime Minister has actually mandated that work. Nearly 300 years now, many of these coastal towns have had no development. FCJ has been given that mandate to transform these coastal towns. So our next major development is Brown Book that you have indicated the groundbreaking occurs somewhere, I believe, in September. But the Prime Minister actually asked us to do a second development, Chairman, that is the Brown Book 2. So the
Brown Book 2.
Brown Book 2.
But you don't finish Brown Book 1 yet.
Yes, so let's just tell you about that. So as Chair said, Morant Bay Urban Centre is the pilot of a series of urban centers that we are going to do across the island. Just think about the infrastructure that has been in some of these towns for 100, 200 years. Water, sewage, garbage collection, road network. So the first thing is that you have to upgrade the infrastructure within these parishes. So as I say, we are looking at Brown Book 1 as the next urban centre. Prime Minister have actually asked us to look at Old Harbour and Negril. So that is 4 urban centres that are on the drawing board. But yes, Chair, in the next 2 to 3 months, we expect the construction to have started in Port Antonio. There is a 13 acres of land which is owned by Railway Authority, and we have sat with them, and the decision has been made that that coastal piece of land can be developed into Brown Book 2. If you know, there are wharfs that are alongside that space, and it is felt that large ships can be catered for in that area, and the tourism is unique. So both FCJ, PAJ, and Railway Authority has been asked to come together to develop the lands there. So we are very excited that
I am very
for
excited.
Port Antonio and for St. Thomas, big things are going on.
Yes, I'm very excited. You know, I've learned so much on this program already because I now understand the role of the FCJ outside of just thinking about Garmex and all of those other small entities. But you are truly investing in a major way in Jamaica's overall infrastructure development. So, you know, the impact that is being felt by the people is not just about you reaching one man, but you're reaching communities, you're reaching parishes, ensuring that the investment is felt right across the island and not just in little pockets. So I'm very happy for this great work that you're doing.
And if I may
And
say,
exactly expound on that is how strategic we have been. If you look at Morant Bay, there are university going to be there, UCC, they're going to be a BPO, major BPO company going to be there to ensure that young people get the opportunity to work and also be educated at the same time. Heart Trust NTA will be there, and it's easy to matriculate from Heart Trust into a university. So the strategic approach is really for personal development of the community. The businesses will be to ensure that they get the best service, and also to allow small business to see how big business operate, so they themselves can become aligned with the whole process of how big business operate. And their ambition is to grow, because small business have to grow, right? And this is the initiatives that we're using. But I can tell you, if you're excited about Morant Bay, if you're excited about what we're here, you must hear about Naggo Head. I wish we had so much time because we talk all day, but it is so important to understand Naggo Head. Naggo Head will be a smart city. It will be the first of its kind to see a development. We're talking about 1 million square feet of space that will have 3 universities to include Hartros NTA, UCC, and UTech. We'll have a series of BPO companies that allow for integration of education and job opportunities. We'll have commercial activities. We'll have a media center. It's going to impact Portmore. That Portmore will be seen as the smart city, like a Silicon Valley, where you have the brainchild of Jamaica, because you know how many the brightest people and the more middle class people are from Portmore, right? Yes, and they have the potential, and most of them are employed in the BPO, but they have to migrate to different. So can you imagine having all that being in Portmore where they don't need, and the BPO companies don't have to spend a whole lot of money on transporting the staff from to various locations.
Right.
And that money can be now put into paying them better
Right.
and creating better facilities.
Right.
So the whole opportunity of the Naggo Head is to create an integrated business center for that can be seen as the future of Jamaica, where we involve now artificial intelligence from the BPO, entry-level BPO will be upgraded, and the universities will be there to support it 100%.
All right, wonderful. So we're now going to talk about the impact, because I remember that you mentioned Negril and some of the tourist towns. So what is the impact on the people of Jamaica?
Amazing job creation. For instance, we projected that Naggo Head will see about 20,000 persons being employed and educated. The Morant Bay will see at least 5,000. When the MD speak about redevelopment of Garmex, you'll see another 5,000 persons presently being employed and another 5,000 to be employed, because the Garmex will be the largest industrial complex in the Caribbean, amounting to over 1 million square feet of space when the phase 1 and phase 2 would have been completed. In a few weeks, we'll have the ribbon cutting for the phase 1 development of Garmex. We have transformed it, and it's a beauty.
So when you say few weeks, that is February 2025.
End of February.
End of February.
We have the
Right.
they will be starting phase 2 and to build out another 500,000 square feet of space. So
FCJ is really going places.
yes. And Negril. Negril is essential. Negril contribute 30% of revenue from the tourist sector, from the hotels in Negril. And it is a bit dysfunctional as a town. There's no facilities support the people. So the Prime Minister wants us to look at existing land over 40 acres that is there, going into Negril, the strip, to develop an urban center there. And that's going to be transformational, because it's going to have all the government entities, private sector entities, similar to Morant Bay Urban Centre. And that will see a transformation of Negril, where people are coming in, are not just seen as being part of tourists, but part of the development of their community for a better quality of life, for persons who want to migrate there to look for job opportunities in the hotel industry.
Right, wonderful. How do they contact the FCJ?
So it's fcj.gov.jm, I believe, online, and they can go to any of our social media sites and make direct contact with us. Our website have a portal that allows you to make direct application online for space. You can see all the spaces.
Wonderful. Thank you so very much, gentlemen, for joining us. I feel like we should have a part 2, because the information is just so much. I had no idea, that FCJ was doing all of this. So I think we need to invite you back again some other time, so that the folks can know what is happening, and also so they can see that big things are coming for their town. They just need to wait a little bit. FCJ has it under control. Thank you so very much. So today we've explored the groundbreaking work of the Factories Corporation of Jamaica. Thank you to our guests for joining us today, and thank you, our audience, for tuning in. Follow us on all platforms at MEGJC_JM and our website at megjc.gov.jm. And remember to also go to the Factories Corporation website and book your space today. There's some space left, all right? So together, we're building a more sustainable Jamaica. See you next time on MEGJC Matrix.